Today, I want to share some information about why productivity feels like such an immensely frustrating thing for you. So, if you keep trying to fix your productivity, but nothing is sticking, let me say this gently. It might not be your planner, and you're not procrastinating because you're lazy. You're procrastinating because deep down, you're afraid that it won't be good enough. I recently sat down and watched a whole bunch of videos on procrastination. And you know what they all had in common? They were missing one key piece of information. I'm going to get to that in just a minute, but let me set the stage. Here's what the videos do cover. Most of them talk about systems and strategies. So I'm talking about things like the Pomodoro effect. If any of these don't sound familiar to you, just let me know in the comments and I can let you know what they are. They're actually really great, and I do support these strategies, but I'm getting off track here. So they talk about things like the Pomodoro technique, time blocking, silencing your notifications on all of your devices, or putting your devices in another room, or just turning them off, those kind of things. Even the little habits that you can build in to trigger your brain to let you know that it's time to do a certain task. So this is actually a really cool one, but it is a hack. But just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, because it is pretty cool and I really do support it. So let's say you want to start a new habit and you're going to do that thing every single day. You can create a trigger for your brain that lets you know you're getting ready to do that thing. So something simple like when I sit down at my desk, I know that I'm getting ready to do my work for my business. And so that is my brain's trigger. If you have other things that you want to start, you may decide certain time of day I'm going to do this thing. And in order to prepare my brain and let it know, hey, it's time to do that thing, you might have a certain flavor of tea or a certain little plaque that you put up on your desk that's motivational, and it reminds you, hey, this is the thing we're about to do. Anyways, that's what that is. It's a strategy, but really it's just a little hack. Things like announcing it to the world. So, you said you're going to do the thing. The expectation is you're going to do the thing. Compressing your timeline. So that's something like if you say, hey, I'm going to complete this in the next 12 months, and then challenging yourself to do it in 6 months instead. The idea here is that your brain will take as long as you give it to do the thing. So if you say a year, you'll figure out how to do it within that year. But if you say 6 months, you will do it within that 6 months. Now, I have a little bit of a problem with this one because yes, it works. Yes, you're probably going to attempt or get the thing done. But where I take issue with this as a coach who deeply believes in self-care and taking care of your mental wellness and all of those things is, what would the impact of that thing be? Getting a little off topic here, but anyways, this is what I found. And here's why I'm mentioning it to you, because the likelihood is if you're sitting here with me, you've probably done a number of these things or similar strategies, and you're still finding yourself on procrastination island. You're just swimming in a sea of to-dos with no forward momentum, or at least not the kind of moves that move the needle forward on your business and on your goals. So you're sitting at your laptop, for example, with a to-do list and a fresh cup of coffee and still getting nothing done. What I'm talking about is how imposter syndrome triggers procrastination. So that's where we're going today. No amount of productivity hacks or systems are going to make that go away. You can find band-aids and push through each and every one of those moments, but here's why I never advocate for that. Because if you've got imposter syndrome in the background, either the procrastination is absolutely keeping you from doing the thing, or if you are doing the thing, you're doing it with fear and stress adding up and compounded, and over time, that's wreaking havoc on your entire well-being, your physical body, your mental, your emotional, all the things. And so I just want to drive home the point that you're not lazy and you're not broken. You're battling an invisible critic that keeps moving that finish line for you, that imposter syndrome. And so I want to share a few ways that imposter syndrome can sometimes masquerade as productivity. We're talking about how it can get really sneaky, because the fact of the matter is it can become very sneaky, and it tricks us into believing these things, these limiting beliefs, and keeping ourselves stuck in these old ways of thinking that don't serve us, never really stopping to question, why do I think that? Is that really true? It's just this pattern that we've had for so long, we don't even consider questioning it. And so I want to bring some of those things up for you today. One of those things, the very first way that imposter syndrome can masquerade is perfectionism. So sometimes you'll spend hours and hours and hours and hours, and you're polishing this thing, but never really publishing this thing. And sometimes it's not hours. We're talking days, weeks, months, years, right? Polishing, perfecting, making it better. but never really publishing, never putting it out into the world. I'll post it when it's ready. And when is it ready? Ready turns into never. You second guess everything. And so nothing ever feels done. If I just make this little tweak, I just got to make this thing a little better. That's not quite right. Never pushing yourself to just put it out imperfectly. And don't forget, imperfect is the same as human. Okay. Another way that it can show up in kind of a sneaky way is something called project paralysis. You're avoiding the work is what it is. But at the core, it's not necessarily that you're avoiding the work. It's that you're avoiding being seen, the fear of failing, right? If somebody sees this, then they can judge it and it can be a failure. So you don't do the work. You just get stuck in this kind of freeze mode, right? When you think of the fight, flight, freeze of the stress responses, it's that freeze. Keeps you from actually completing the project. That fear of not being good enough, it keeps you in preparation mode instead of completing the thing. All right. It can keep you doing things like overworking or overplanning. So you look busy, right? You know you're busy, but are you being productive? And the answer right now, I'm going to tell you is no, because that's what this topic is about. We wouldn't be here together if it was. So you're checking boxes all day, every day, checking the box. I'm posting to this social media platform and that social media platform. And I've created a freebie and then I created another one. And I've probably got like 10 at this point, right? And I've done all the things and I've created all the things. But how many of those things are actually getting you in front of the clients that you want to be in front of? How many of those things are getting you positioned so that you can actually serve that client with all of the best that you have to offer them? Many of them are keeping you busy, not productive. So it looks like showing up on social media in ways that are inspirational and providing some motivation and quick tips. And this is how you do that. And trust me, I'm not judging because I've done those things and they're great. But are those the things that are actually getting the client to say, hey, I want to work with you. Tell me how that looks. How can we do that? Most of those things are not. So what is? Those are the things you need to be focusing on. And I think you know that, but you're not. And that's why we're here, because even though you know that, that fear is keeping you from putting yourself front and center in front of the people who most need you, in front of the people who you can best serve. Because what happens? It gets really scary. What if I can't serve them the way that I've made myself believe that I can? What if I fail them? What if they're disappointed in me, right? And so instead of doing the thing that puts you in front of those clients who deep down inside, you know that you are capable of serving, that you can serve, you just do the busy work. If I just keep showing up on social media, they'll come find me, right? Now let's talk about what real productivity looks like. And it's not about doing more. I very much come from a place of work smarter, not harder. That's the army in me. But what I love about that is it's how I run my business today. So today I work about 4 to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. I don't work evenings. I don't work weekends. And a matter of fact, when I say I don't work evenings, from the time that I leave to pick my youngest up from school, that's the end of my workday. I am not available for anything that impedes upon family time. And I still manage to get all of the things done that I need to get done. I'm not boasting. I'm telling you that this is how your schedule can look too, when you're doing the right things, the things that actually move that needle forward, the things that put you in front of the client and show them, hey, I can help you get this thing accomplished. I am the best person for this job for you, right? It's about doing those things with calm confidence, that real productivity from a place of believing that you are the person for that job, believing that you are capable, not a better calendar, not a more strategic layout of your tasks. All of those things are great, but not if they don't also accompany the mindset work and the work, the deep work on the imposter syndrome, if that's what's showing up for you. If this is sounding like, oh, as much as I hate what you're saying, Heather, it's resonating, hit the like button and let me know. All right. How do we quiet? How do we heal this imposter syndrome? All right, let me ask that question. Well, actually, I'm the one that's going to be answering that question. So here's the truth of the matter. Imposter syndrome is a deep identity level issue. So it's not a few mindset tricks and you've got your answers and you're rolling again. And if that's the case, then you didn't have imposter syndrome. You had some self-doubt, and that's great. I'm cheering for you because that's awesome that you were able to overcome it and move through it quickly. But imposter syndrome, a few mindset tricks isn't going to do the thing. What you need to do to overcome imposter syndrome is commit to the inner work. So you're doing the things in the moment to quiet the inner critic and the self-doubt and the perfectionism and the people pleasing and the project paralysis. You are effectively putting a band-aid on the thing in the moment, but you're doing that on repeat. You are consistently and habitually doing the mental work in and out of the times that you need it, so that it is rewiring the brain. So it starts going from, I'm not the person that can do this, I'm not capable, I'm a fraud, to knowing without a shadow of a doubt that you have what it takes, that you are that person. And that takes some time and that takes some consistency, but with repetition, that is what's happening. So we're not just slapping the Band-Aid on repeatedly, we're doing these things to change the way that the brain functions in that moment. So you're changing from an old habit to a new habit, essentially. It's more than the brain, though. It's more than the mindset work. It's the body work. Every time you have an emotion, you have a thought that triggers an emotion, that exists in your body as well. And you need to know that, because if it does something in your body, if you have this energy that comes into your body, this heaviness, this anxiety, this stress, these things that don't feel good, and they sit in your body and they don't move and they don't get back out, they don't get processed through. They, again, like everything else I talked about, they compound. That stress, right? It compounds. And it doesn't get processed, and it wreaks havoc on your mental state, on your physical state. So when you're attending to imposter syndrome, and especially as it pertains to productivity, as we're talking about today, but in all the ways that it inhibits you moving forward and growing in your business, you're doing the mindset work, but you're also doing the body stuff, the somatic work. And so making sure that that emotion processes through your body, but also that you create not just new neural pathways, right, but new physical things that are occurring. So instead of the anxiousness, we're invoking excitement, right? So all of that together, that's how you start to overcome this imposter syndrome, so that it gets out of the way of your productivity. Great. That sounds like a really long road, Heather. Forget it. I don't want to do it. Don't skate out on me yet. I want you to keep rocking with me, because I am going to share a couple of things that you can do in the moment. I'm also going to invite you to something that I am hosting that will help you to move through this. Okay. So the first thing is, I want to invite you to go back to some of my other playlists. I have a whole entire playlist on imposter syndrome, and I have a whole entire playlist on the inner critic. In the inner critic videos, I talk about things like using your ABCs, which is in the moment a way to shut down that inner critic, but it doesn't just quiet the voice, it calms your body. So it does all those things that I talked about. So definitely check out that video after this one. Using things like a program that I have created for you all. It is my Dream, Define, Do workshop. We do get clarity on the momentum that you want to build, but we get really, really clear on not the to-dos to check the box to keep you busy, but those things that are actually going to propel you forward. And then when we have that clarity on the things that you actually need to be doing, those income producing activities, then we start to look at, all right, where is imposter syndrome tripping you up? Where are you not getting productive even though you're clear? Where are you still getting stuck behind the fear, behind the I'm not good enough, behind the I'm a fake, I'm a fraud, right? And we start to clear that stuff together. So with that said, in the description, I have a link for my Dream, Define, Do workshop. It's free. The workshop is free for you to attend, and you get me for 3 hours working through all of this stuff with you. So soon as we wrap up here, I want you to go sign up for that workshop so we can start moving you forward again in your business. And with that said, I am cheering for you. Stay empowered.